Hey folks, welcome back to WarThunder. Lately in my comment section someone suggested that I give WarThunder another look. I have actually looked at VR in WarThunder before, but it was before I'd really wrapped my head around how to set the headset up. Now I've got it pretty much nailed down, and I'm quite happy to say that I'm getting a locked 70 FPS with basically maxed settings. It's the same settings that I play with in flat screen. In flat screen I get like 200 FPS, but I'll take 70 in VR. It actually looks phenomenally good on screen, if I do say so myself, so you'll have to let me know if you agree in the comments. Now, the one downside of VR in WarThunder is that a lot of how you play the game involves the screen UI, like the kill feed to know where to look to find bad guys. The way that the radar overlays on the screen kind of requires you to look off to the side of the screen when you're in VR. So you're having to look away from where the target is to see where the radar is in order to track it, and it is quite horrible. But what that's led to is me dropping back to lower battle ratings where avionics suites and aircraft aren't really a thing, and it's just guns and really crappy low tier missiles, if any missiles at all. And I'm really having a blast with it. It runs beautifully, it looks really good, and in VR the shittiness of the flight models is kind of lost a little bit because you're too engrossed in being there for real, if you know what I mean. You don't really notice it so much. Now, we're going to be flying the Shenyang MiG-17 today, or the Shenyang F5 as it's named. It's in the Chinese tech tree, it's a premium, so you could literally hop into the game and buy this off the cuff and just get straight in. The reason I'm flying it though is because DCS is going to get a MiG-17 at some point. I believe it's being developed by Red Star Simulations, but they did an interview with Enigma a while ago, and it sounds like they're really sinking their teeth into it and doing it justice, and I'm actually super hyped for it. This is basically my training wheels for when it gets put into DCS. As well as this video today, I'm also trying to get a squad comms video together, and so far I haven't had a huge amount of luck like coordinating with people and actually getting good footage. I mostly just got my cheeks clapped and it wasn't very interesting to watch, but I will throw in a few clips of that for you now. If you want to help me get more footage for squad stuff and you like what you see in general, then consider hopping in the Discord, because you could fly with me if I'm online. You could be in a video potentially, so if that sounds like your cup of tea and you want to help me get that squad comms video together quicker, then the link's in the description for the Discord. Lastly, if you enjoy what you see up to now, then consider checking out the affiliate link in the description for Pimax's VR store. The headset I'm using today is a Pimax Crystal Light. They've sent it me for review purposes. I have not yet managed to put the review together. I still feel like I need to fly with it more and test it and get stuck in a bit more and like really get into the nitty gritty. But it's coming. If you want to help support the channel financially, then you can buy something through the affiliate link for Pimax's store. You could also become a channel member, or you could buy a model through Air Models using my affiliate link in the description. All that out of the way, let's get stuck into what became quite a good Shenyang F5 Sortie. Hope you enjoy. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Okay, so a little bit of a dark takeoff. The cloud cover in this game has been oddly low for a while now, but it does brighten up a little bit once we break the cloud cover. At the minute, the runway is engaging someone that came in to bomb it, so we're seeing the Rolands firing off into the distance. When the missiles detonate, it's not because they've contacted the target, it's just because they've exceeded their range or they've dropped the lock. So we're up, we're flaps up, we're gear up, breaching the clouds. I do think this is a very pretty game right now. Having to look down to my right to check the kill feed, and an F8 has just killed a friendly. That was a friendly MiG killing a hostile, so I can look away from that area for now. I know there's a lightning in there somewhere and an F8 Crusader just from the kill feed, so I'm scanning. I can see something turning. That looks like it might be the F8. MiG-17 has really good cockpit visibility everywhere except forwards, but in VR you can like lean in and it really improves the view. I'm actually loving how satisfying it is to get guns on target in VR. It's so much easier, at least for deflection shooting, and especially when your aircraft has a gyro sight. much easier to use in VR than they are in with head tracking. Checking that my kill went through there, and I can see a bunch of stuff turning around underneath me, so we're going to dive back down. Liking the shadow effects in this game in VR as well. I have to turn a lot of them off in DCS, so the effect is somewhat lost. So I can see something taking some amount of damage under the clouds. Looks like parts of an aircraft have broken off. Maybe they've oversped their flaps or something. Maybe they've been shot. Obviously not going to be able to track them through this thick cloud, but dipping in and out of the cloud does help me to break visual contact with anyone that might have spotted me that I've not noticed yet. As I pull up and over, I spot something off my nose, and as we get closer, it's actually a Kfir. And the Kfir is also something that's being developed for DCS. It's an Israeli modification of the Mirage 3. I think it will make quite an interesting addition to the game, but this fight that we're seeing unfold could actually happen within DCS. So obviously the Kfir being based on the Mirage 3, it's a delta wing, which means that he can turn very well, he can pull a lot of AOA, but at the expense of energy, so he is pulling very hard, he's losing a lot of speed. I'm in a MiG-17 derivative, which is basically the Viper of the Korean War, the Cold War era. It's an absolute turning beast. In VR though, I've not quite got the feel down pat yet, so a few times in this fight I pull a little bit too hard and it actually causes a bit of a wing stall. So some of the times that I end up committing into him were not intentional. It was just because I didn't realise how slow I was going. So he is wrapping around on me, but he climbs to do that and he's having to turn to get onto me. So I know that if I just keep turning the same way, I'll stay out of his nose. Partly here you're losing sight of him because he's going off the screen. That's because the headset's field of view is actually wider than what the monitor displays. So there, when I pulled, I was intending to stay in a rate above him, but I lost too much speed, and as I was trying to maintain the rate, I actually wing stalled and the plane rolled to the right and it kind of forced me to dive down on top of it. Our speed is only 160 knots right now. There is something else in the mix that's keeping him distracted, so it's giving me an opportunity to get some shots in. Whew. Do nearly team kill that guy there, but thankfully we didn't hit him. We only get minor hits on the Kfir though. Obviously this thing has the same armament as the MiG-17 and the MiG-15, so a pair of 23mm and a 37. I also have a pair of R3Ss, or that's what they would be, and that's the DCS equivalent. I actually can't remember what they're called because they're Chinese. It might be a PL2, but they're basically like AIM-9Bs. So I'm throttling down to try and get a shot there. Almost give him one, thankfully he's as bad at aiming as I am. Here I accidentally catch my mouse, so in WarThunder there's a variable zoom and there's a snap zoom, and the snap zoom I have it bound to my mouse button, and I had my mouse on my lap so that I could reach it without having to lean forwards because my setup's quite far back from my desk, and yeah, not good. So we are holding altitude on this guy. He's extremely slow. That was a wing stall. That roll to the right was not intentional. I was hoping to stay above him and then dive on top of him. Didn't really work out. I am quite impressed at my own ability to maintain visual through a lot of this. That's a lightning that just merged past us. Also hostile. The Kfir was stalling out, so I decided to switch my attention to the lightning, and I hope that as I chase the lightning down, the Kfir will lose visual because of the clouds. But what actually happens is that I lose visual on the lightning, and the Kfir just happens to pop back up right in front of me, which is pretty convenient. So we end up right on his 6. Speed's not great, but as he reverses his turn, we get a really nice deflection shot, taking his wingtip off. Because he's a delta wing, will need that. It means he'll have lost an aileron. He's lost some lift, asymmetric lift, one aileron, not a good combo for a delta wing, and he ends up crashing and going in. We're still rooting around on the deck in the clouds, and I can see something coming around from my right side. IDing targets in VR is something that is not even slightly easy. You don't quite have the crispness of resolution that you do in 2D. So you kind of have to get quite close to get visual confirmation of what something is. But it did just fire a missile at me. Managed to outmaneuver it. It's the lightning, so that must have been a red top that he shot at me. Lightning also loses a lot of speed in the turn. There's also an A4 Skyhawk back there. So these guys, more so the Skyhawk, but the lightning to an extent as well, kind of have a delta wing of sorts. Neither of them are particularly good at sustained turns, which is where my strength is. Lightning's booming out, and the MiG-21 is chasing him down. I know the Skyhawk's around, but I don't know where, and looking behind kind of hurts my neck, so I head into the clouds to break contact. As we come back out, we spot this guy, get an excellent, beautiful, orgasmic, you might say, deflection shot on that guy. Not sure what it did, but it was an F3H Demon. And then we merge with, I think, the Skyhawk again going the other way, so we go for an Immelman. Managed to maintain viz throughout, and as we're coming back down, he's coming up, and we managed to plant a 37 right in his cockpit, so that knocks him out of the fight immediately. A little bit later on I managed to reacquire something that's trying to capture the A point. Still can't quite tell what it is from over here, but it's turning away from me. Looks like a Jaguar, maybe. Not sure why my missile seekers aren't coming on, because I did press the button. Quite surprised that actually connected. So that was actually an F8U, not a Jaguar. See what I mean about IDing stuff in VR not being very easy. Continuing our right turn. As long as we keep a right turn going and maintain a reasonable speed, it's very difficult for anyone to kill you in this thing, because you can outrate everything that you encounter. And the missiles at this tier aren't really great for anything unless they're flying in a straight line. So you kind of become immortal to an extent. And then when you do spot someone behind you, you can just turn in on them and chase them down. So this is the guy that I hit in the deflection shot crossing my nose from earlier. Don't manage to hit him with the missile there because he was flaring. Very nice. Very satisfying. Words cannot describe how good it feels to pull that off in VR. Moving on, and we find a Jaguar in this cloud bank. So this guy, thankfully, stays in his afterburner because the clouds do get quite thick, but I can just about make out his burner through the fog. Jaguar loses a lot of speed in the turn, so I'm just slightly cutting his turn. We are very low on ammo at this point. This will be our 6th kill if we manage to connect and down him. Not sure if he knows that I'm here at this point. Really struggling to follow him through this. Didn't realise how close I was getting. Managed to take his wingtip off, but he appears to still have control. I infinitely regret not pulling the trigger when he crossed the nose there, but we have 8 shots of 23 and 3 shots of 37 left, and I don't fancy my chances if he extends away, because he will be faster than me. Speculative, but didn't expect much of it. At this point I disengage. My fuel's not great either, ammo's super bad, and I just hope that he crashes at some point before he makes it back to base. Not sure whether he does or not, because I forget to keep checking the kill feed. But we do make it back to base with fuel to spare. We'll call it an ace in a Sortie. Pretty happy with that. So like I said earlier, folks, if you enjoy what you see, then be sure to check out the Pimax affiliate link in the description. You can also buy this aircraft in WarThunder off the cuff. It's a premium, so you can just hop in the game and buy it straight up. You could be flying it in the next few hours. It depends how long it takes you to download the game. Really enjoying WarThunder in VR. Really enjoying VR in general, to be honest, now that I've got the headset figured out. Keep your eyes peeled for the review. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.